Hello again. So this is the devlog 2 because I'm really bad at making devlogs, as you can tell because there hasn't been one in like almost a year. That's for really two reasons. One, I got relatively busy, and two, the project was completely redone. I redid the whole thing from the ground up. My reasoning for that, well, very simple. The game, it didn't feel fun. Like it wasn't fun to play. And the top down angle was extremely restrictive, really restrictive what I was trying to do. And I wasn't able to fully utilize the space I had. So I decided to start all over again so that I could just, well, do what I wanted to do. So I'm going for a third person now. Diving is back in the game. I mean, it was there before. I think I disabled it in the previous project because diving from the top down angle looks really awkward and you don't know where you're going and how far up you are. And I want this to be a normal and actual thing for the game, a thing the player can do. But the top-down movement really restricted that and didn't allow really for the player to actually do anything like that, and really reduced the took a really big hit on the gameplay. But this version is I feel feels better. Feels better. This is just my test map here. So this version of the game has masks, a few more less weapons than the previous version, and has much more stable AI. I figured out how to get the AI much more, like a lot better than before. Oh, that's loud. I forgot to turn that down. All right, let's turn that down before we do anything else. Hopefully that goes down. If not, I have to fix it in editing. Oh well. Yeah. So there are a few main weapons right now. There's a 44 that I made. I modeled these myself. 44. A Street Sweeper that wasn't in the other version of the game. The texturing's a little weird. I think I have to change the texturing size. And the classic Mossberg, or just standard shotgun. And this is my dev gun. This is just funsies. Let's go to a much more fitting map for what I'm talking about. So this is the heisting test range. This is where I test the heist elements of the game. And it's very bare bones right now, especially in terms of the heisting. Not much you can really do. But there is NPCs. They do walk around, or civilians rather. Some of them walk around, some of them can stand still. I have nothing programmed, so if you kill a civilian, nobody will react to it. So it's kind of funny, just like running somebody over. But I don't know if you noticed or not, but the Norman I'm playing as is different. I remodeled him and redid him because I didn't like the previous Norman. He didn't feel he didn't feel right to me. Like, every time I looked at him, I feel like I needed to do work. But this newer version, I feel is better. The proportions are all right. I redid the whole collisions. I redid the whole model, improved upon my modeling skills a lot. Because my previous version was just horrible. God awful. It was bad. It was really bad. So with this version of the game, AI will react to. Oh, that's still really loud. Why is that still loud? Did I return it down? Is it better in recording? I don't know. It might be better in recording. I'll just turn it down for my computer. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully this doesn't interrupt while editing. I guess I could cancel out the audio. Alright, desktop audio is canceled out. Why? Because I don't want to deal with the gunshots right now. Alright. So this version of the game offers simple AI that just follow to play around and shoot at them. The civilians will not move if you're watching them. If you go like behind a wall for a little bit, they'll like start moving. And there is waves that are called that can spawn more AI. Of course, there's a classic downing and dying. It's a lot of AIs. I'm currently working on reducing them, some of it. Anyways, there is weapon pickups. So you can now look at someone and pick them up. Neat. You can also throw weapons by holding Q. I haven't set up the animations for it, but it does kill things. So, it's fun. And this box here is, I call it the no-go zone. It's basically a restricted zone that once you enter, you become a target for AI. This is just so that, let's say you're going to the back of the bank, somewhere you're not supposed to be, and one of these guards, if you can find them, notices you're back here, they'll come to you. I don't have any specific kind of code, like what to do when they come to you. They just like, they show up. Yeah. I think that's pretty good so far. Well, I have to make some special functions for it, like what would they do when they get there and stuff like that. Because right now they just don't do anything. They kind of just like watch you, and that's really all. But you can start the bank thing. I think I only have it available for my controller. The keybinds are only available on my controller. Why? Because I'm a terrible game developer. And because it just feels better to play the video game with a controller. There we go. Why are you lagging? What did I do to make you lag? Was that the controller? Damn. So it activates just a temporary model, which launches the thing, and it crashed. Lovely. Oh, it's still recording. Oh, that's neat. Alright. Got the game back up. It's running. Yes, running. Anyways, back to the door. I was saying earlier before it crashed is that once you activate this thing here, it launches a model and then it opens the door. Right now there's no animations or anything. The door kind of just like vanishes, but you know, it's something. And also, on top of the fact that you can also pick up things, you can also pick up weapons. You can also pick up bags that you can hold. And the more bags you carry, the heavier it is. Oh. What's the button? There it is. And you can toss the bags down. Right now everything's incredibly bare bones. Sometimes it lags like that, I don't know why. I think it's the AI amount. And the bags can take damage, like they can break. I don't know if I'm gonna keep that or not, because I don't know. It feels kind of bad to have like your loot or whatever, just like break while you're trying to heist it. It just doesn't, like, you put almost a lot of effort and get into it, and then it just breaks immediately, which doesn't make any sense. Kind of makes sense to me. Kind of incentivizes the fact it's very precious cargo, but at the same time, it degrades the players', I don't know, expectations, I guess. You can throw the money in the back of my well-ly modeled van, and there's a zone here you can enter which ends the level, which I have not set up. If you see from the top left-hand corner there, that I have a check that checks whether if all the players are currently in the field. This allows for like multiplayer where you have multiple people playing the game and you want them all to stand inside that zone to end the level. What else could I talk about? The AI are incredibly simple. They're nothing special. They took me forever to program, but they're nothing special, really. Um, what could I talk about? I don't know. There's not really much to look at beyond what I have. I guess I could talk about some characters I made. Why is the nav mesh keep spawning? So these are the two different characters I made. First one, well, is Norman. Yes, we all know Norman, or some of us at least. And this guy here. A little iffy on his design. I don't know if I should keep his design this way or redo him. Yeah, a little iffy on the design, the name, everything, but he's a little big. Kind of a big guy. A tad bit bigger than Norman here. But, yeah. The AI can detect noise events, so they can go to sounds they heard. Let's say like a gunshot, and they're shooting at that. I don't know why those guys are. They're not supposed to be targetable, but they are for some reason. I'll have to find out why. Anyways, let's get rid of you. Mute my sound because the game's really loud. Why? Because I've not turned down the sound effects yet. There's this. Anyways, so they go to sound events. So if you fire off a gun, for example, and they witness you, they'll go into attacking mode, which they'll follow you around, and once they have line of sight, you get shot at. Pretty self-explanatory, very simple AI. Probably about the basic. If you manage to stay 10 seconds outside their range, they forget about you, and they can also call in more AI buddies, which oftentimes leads to a lot of dying. Mostly for the AI, though. They're not very smart. Like, they're not very good at staying out of the way of things. They kind of just, like, show up and then die. Like, walk in straight lines and everyone dies in a one row. Drops a lot of stuff. I gotta reduce that. Like, I'm still trying to figure out, like, I'm still trying to figure out all the systems and basically everything around the AI, because that's about the hardest thing I can do in this game, is about the AI. Because they're a lot more complicated than the player, because the player I can just do basically what I want with them. And, well, they will kind of just work, because the player is controlled by players, and the players do what they want. And the AI are programmed to do specific things that I want them to do. So essentially it's the same thing, but the AI can act on their own accord. So can players, but that's not the point. Yeah, I need to find a way to reduce and to save on memory, power, and graphics. And probably rebalance the weapons or increase the player's health. Because as it stands, well, as you can see, they just get shredded like every other second. It's kind of funny. Let's remove the AI. I don't want to talk about the weapons for a bit, because the weapons are quite interesting. So, when working in a third-person game, it's a little difficult, especially with weapons and like aiming is mostly. So, normally, people would think, oh yeah, just make the gun shoot straight forward, right? And that's what I did. The gun shoots exactly where well, it shoots straight, but if you stand a certain distance away, it shoots where the crosshair is. Now, I did that because it just feels better to aim that way, because your crosshair is aiming, right? And you always point where you're aiming. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have it only going straight if I'm not at that distance. But if you were to stand close to something, let's say like, I don't know, this far I believe, yeah, the gun will now shoot where it's aiming, like directly straight. Now I did this because it just feels a lot more natural, but I could also just have like the gun move like a huge and massive diagonal line to reach its target, but that doesn't feel right to me. Because the minimum distance for it to auto target is about the minimum distance you will notice it. Any closer than here to the gun's gonna fire like dramatically to the right, and it's gonna like ping hundreds of people that way, despite the fact you're pointing this way. And I don't exactly want that because I want the weapon to shoot straight. So if you're standing close, your gun shoots straight. Now, it can be a little disorientating at first, especially if you stand close to an enemy and you feel like, oh yeah, I can shoot him, but then you don't. You shoot directly straight and not to where you want it to be. But I mostly did that because of multiplayer. Oh yeah, my game has multiplayer. Mostly just, it's only split screen right now. But I'm not going to remove split screen. I'm going to keep that. Never remove split screen. Kind of sad that most developers remove split screen. I understand, like, performance-wise and such, but I mean, God's sake, performance is just it's infinite. You can fight performance all day long, and you'll never solve it, ever. Just allow split screen, make it as best possible you possibly can, and then that's it. Congratulations, you have split screen. If performance is your only problem, then lower the graphics when split screen starts. That's all I gotta say. If you're able to do it in every single last game before, then we can do it every single last game now. If you can't do that, then I am very sorry for you. I don't have another person to play the multiplayer mode with, but I can showcase it a bit. It's just running around and shooting each other. Nothing special. This is a custom map that I made for it. Kind of evolved. I was playing around with my brother, just testing out the overall map and the feel. Just mostly the feel of multiplayer shooting each other. And this is the map that kind of like, sorry, the map that emerged from this. There's a lot of open angles and a lot of tight corners. These areas here, if you notice, have a special barrier that I call wind. It's like a wind tunnel that you can fly through. It's a little finicky, along with everything else in this game. And there's spawners, which spawn items. When I start the game, loads in multiplayer, and these spawners now take effect. I like the way the light glows off the models I made, because the light doesn't cast any shadows, so it kind of makes everything over it glow. I think that's pretty cool. Still trying to figure out some bugs here and there. Like if you put on your mask, you automatically drop all the weapons you have. That way, it prevents a lot of things like you pick up a weapon, it doesn't work because you removed all the ammo from it, and or like you had some really good weapons and then you put your mask on because it went loud or something, and then you lose all your weapons, which doesn't quite feel fair in my opinion. But yeah, in multiplayer, if you stand real close, right, the player that's witnessing you, it just makes sense that the gun is always pointing straight. So if you're standing over here and the gun's not pointing at you, you won't hit him because, well, the gun's not pointing at you. But let's say you stand back here where it will hit you. Let's say like over here. So the gun's pointing straight, but it's not close enough for you to notice it. Alright, move a little further back. You will be hit because you can't really notice the distance from here. you're not really. The gun looks like it's pointed at you. It's not pointed at you, but it looks like it. And that's what I'm going for. Because I don't need to worry about whether if it constantly looks like you're being shot. I just need to worry about where the bullet is going. The only time it would feel fair is that if the gun's pointing straight. And it crashed. Awesome. This crashing has nothing to do with my game. It's just my laptop. It's a little dead. Well, it's fine. Well, it's not fine. It's less than fine. It's alright. It's not doing well, to say the least. I think it has to do something with my power cord, not power cord, my the power cord, the power spot between the motherboard and the graphics processor that's causing a problem. I think something shorted in there, which is a little annoying, really annoying. Encoding overload. We're experiencing some problems while recording your software because you're using too much stuff. Because you have a very high RAM capacity of 16 gigabytes, but it's not strong enough because most programs demand more. Why? I don't know. All they're doing is loading fancy UI and not much else. Why they need that much RAM? Who knows? It's a modern era. Everything has to look fancy. Nothing can just work. It has to be fancy. Anyways, back to multiplayer. Shooting range. Multiplayer mode is called Human Shooting Range. I don't know if I want to keep that name. I kind of like it. It's a bit graphic. Also, it's like straight to the point. Like, what else are you gonna name it? Multiplayer versus Halo social games. Oh yeah, also shotguns. I can talk about shotguns now. Oh yeah, ragdolling. If you hit the ground too hard, you will ragdoll. It's really funny. Especially in multiplayer. You make a big escape and you hit the ground too hard, you ragdoll, and it's hilarious. So shotguns, as you can see, they're a shotgun. They fire in spreads, and then it crashes because awesome. Why not? I don't get to choose when it crashes, I just get lucky when it doesn't. I guess I should be happy it didn't crash enough times for me to not be able to develop the game. It could have been worse. Oh, that's why OBS is using the majority of my graphics processor. Is it? No, it's not. It's using my other graphics processor, my Intel integrated processor. Everything has to go wrong when I start recording. It's like nothing ever happens when I'm just like testing out the game, working on it, and coding. But the instant I turn on my recording software, that being recording from like my phone or just like on the computer recording, it always crashes like every other second. Why? I don't know. Maybe the computer's just afraid. He a little shy. Why? Well, I don't know. Maybe the computer has sentience or something. Who knows? Who knows? I don't. I like to think I know, but I don't. It would be nice to know. Truly. But I don't. Yeah, I don't know if these devlogs are boring to people or not. I'm not trying to make them entertaining, but I'm just trying to make them, I don't know. Devlogs are just there to like showcase what you have and not really, you know. Well, I guess one could argue that the devlogs are for like showcasing what you have, and then it can showcase to like maybe an employer or somebody who's like a publisher who might take interest in your things, and that's what do it. But I mostly do the devlogs because I want to make these things and go more into depth with the updates and stuff I'm doing. Because I mostly post small updates here and there, but I usually think they're not enough, especially if you want to go in detail about things. Again, I'm not very good at going in detail, but yeah. Anyways, shotguns, 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 shotgun. Hopefully, it won't crash on me this time. Alright, shotguns fire an array of random pellets. I'm going with random bullet spread. I know, very controversial. But I personally like a shotgun with random bullet spread. It just feels natural. But to compensate for the random bullet spread, the first bullet of the pellet always hits your target. Always. So no matter how far away you are, or how screwed over the bullet with the sorry, how far away you are with the bullet, or let's say you get screwed over by the random array, you can still land a hit because the first shot always lands. Why I did this is because it makes the shotguns feel more consistent with your targets. That way you don't have to worry about, oh, is the shotgun going to hit? Am I going to miss? Do I get denied this shot because, you didn't get blessed by the RNG gods? That way it always lands to where you're being shot, or where the bullet is, where you're aiming. Downing is in multiplayer. I'm going to disable that. Yeah. Shot through the floor. It isn't, nothing says more in development than a ragdoll falling to the ground. A dead gun is really powerful. Basically kills everything. But it also is a good segue to talk about the heavy weapons. Alright, so in my game, there's going to be things called heavy weapons. And these heavy weapons are, let's say, like the dev gun, which is, I doubt it's ever going to make it to the final release because it's just too strong. But as you can see, it has a set number of ammunition. It has its own ammunition pool that a weapon stores its own thing. So a new version of the weapon will have its own ammunition. And when this ammunition runs out, the weapon is destroyed. I was planning on making it thrown, so that way I can utilize the ability of the throwing system. So that once you use up the abilities of the heavy weapons, it gives up, and then you can throw it. Right now, it kind of just like explodes in your hands into like a bunch of money. It's kind of funny. Money. Yeah, that's all I can really say, because there's not much inside this build. Unlike last time, where my previous project had a lot going for it, or a lot more stuff, but nothing was fleshed out, nothing was worked on. And again, I need to redo everything and start from the beginning to really work on things I want to work on, because like the first version of the game had cars, a lot more guns, a flamethrower, and just more dramatic type things. It also included the chaos system, which I still have to work on. One of the main appeal of the game was the chaos system. When you're playing through multiplayer or playing through Heist, you would have a lot more chaos happening. Like the system was designed. I'm designing the system, trying to design a system that it throws you off, kind of. Because I want there to be a bit of chaos in the world. Chaos being like something that's unexpected, something that maybe shouldn't happen but happens anyways. Like a flood, maybe a heavy storm, just something that challenges the player to think differently about the world they're inhabiting. And be more cautious with the overall heisting and such. Now, I know the chaos system is probably going to take the most amount of time out of my day because there's a lot of factors that go into it, like when should something activate, when should I, have it available, what should activate, when it should activate, should certain chaos systems cause other chaos systems to form, and a whole slick of things like that. What is considered chaos or what is not. An example of chaos would be like a tornado that spawns in the game, and this tornado, like, I don't know, it's a tornado, self-explanatory. And the tornado would be a threat because, well, everyone fears a tornado. And that would be like an example of chaos. This is just random events that can happen during a run. I was thinking about having it disableable so you can like turn it off before you start a mission in case those people who don't want chaos, but like you're disabling like the one reason to play the game, or one of the reasons to play the game. I don't know, maybe there's others. Maybe my movement and such gets so good that people play it for that. Multiplayer is really fun. Maybe that's for anything. If you shoot another person in multiplayer, it's always going to be fun, so to speak. No, that's not true. I've played some multiplayer games. They're just god awful. Anyways, I'm rambling. I'm running out of things to talk about. Yeah, I'm gonna end this here. I want to edit out a lot. Oh my god, a lot of editing I have to do. Oh well. Yeah, I'm just gonna end it here. This is good. It's a good stuff to end. Oh well.